to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to read the voice of the customer. So you might be thinking, if you're a relatively new seller, I didn't actually know what the voice of the customer was for quite a few months when I started selling. So it's quite a normal question to wonder, what is voice of the customer? So before we go into this, if you do find this sort of video helpful and if you've enjoyed this, then please make sure you do comment, just let me know how you found it, like and subscribe, that would really help me. So in this video, I'm just going to help you here. So as you can see quite clearly, right, voice of the customer, you've got on the right there, you've got 792 excellent, and on the left to the other extreme, we've got 5 which are very, very poor. So quite simply, as my good friend Thomas says quite a lot, quite simply, 792 excellent, absolutely nothing you have to worry about there. Obviously the aim is to have all of the listings as excellent, okay, and luckily for me the majority are. My virtual assistant, one of my admin virtual assistants, who's actually my business manager soon to be, he actually checks this voice of the customer every single day, and I would actually recommend that you or your VA checks this. And why is this important? Well, if there's a slight issue with voice of the customer, it will likely start going down the chain. So it may have started off good, and then you may have got quite a few refunds for the item, for example, higher than normal, and then it will shoot down to this. If you carry on getting more, and even if some of the refunds get a couple of negative comments towards them saying there was a problem with the item, okay, then it will escalate to fair, okay. The next chain is poor, and then you've guessed it, very poor means that there's a serious issue with the item. So let me show you these as an example. This one here was for the NCX rate, okay, the negative customer experience rate. It just means the issues that were found with them. And as you can see, the percentage is really, really high, especially this one here, which was 66.67%. So there's a reason they're flagging these up. Now, it's really important because once your listing gets really bad, once it gets to very poor, there's not really much you can do about that. There's not much you can do about that. And if you're doing like your own bundle creations, for example, and if you're, it's a real issue for private labelers, not so much for arbitrage, okay? It's a real issue for wholesalers if this was to happen and you had a whole pallet full of stock. Obviously that's an issue. It's not so much of an issue for people doing online arbitrage, okay, unless you're replenning an item hundreds and hundreds of them, which most of us generally aren't, okay. But if it does go to very poor, then you either need to, what I do, stop buying it, or you need to contact Amazon about it and sort this out if it wasn't your fault, okay. That's what you need to do if it's very poor. Personally, if it goes to very poor, I just stop buying the item and that's it. If it's poor, I do the same. If it's fair, I've had quite a few listings that have been fair for quite some time and they're still replens of mine. But this does affect how many items I will buy of that as a replen, just in case that suddenly jumps down to poor or very poor. So you just got to be wary. If an item's fair or even good, my advice would just be to proceed with caution if you're doing online arbitrage, just in case that does escalate some more. And over time it may go back up to good or excellent again. I've had a few that have been fair and then moved back up to good, so it's not the end of the world. But in general, you need to keep an eye on this, or your VA needs to keep an eye on it, and you need to be wary of any products that are in here. Contact Amazon if it wasn't your fault, but generally there's not too much you can do about this. So it's nice to have just so that you can stay on top of the items for replenishment, things like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, make sure you join the free Facebook group. Don't sell any courses or anything like that, but if you want to join the free Facebook group, hit the comments below, find it in the description below. I'll see you soon.